and welcome to our very special initiative, Future Female Forward. And we have someone with us who really needs no introduction. She's a YouTuber, a content creator, an influencer, and has, over 6 million followers on YouTube. Prajakta Koli is right here with us in the studio. Prajakta, thank you so much for being with us on CNBC-TV18.
No, thank you for having me. It's 100% my pleasure.
And the future is pink, I guess, both of us.
Yeah, this was not planned, just in case anyone's wondering. We walked in and we're like, hey, this is great.
But it speaks so much about how far women have come along, right, in the corporate journey, in the content creation space. And you're someone who's kind of pivoted and reimagined, restructured your way through it all. You started as a radio jockey. How has the process been for you so far?
I started as a radio intern. I think I'd be really jumping the gun if I said I started as a radio jockey. I started as an intern, a production intern. Did get a chance to do a radio show, but then very quickly got fired because I was very bad at it, and rightly so. But it's been quite a joyride after that.
So when you say joyride, the ups and the downs,
yeah, the whole,
did you have
the
more
whole
downs
package.
than ups?
I don't think more, but equally there. I mean, definitely I'm more grateful for the ups than I am for the downs, because the ups is what kind of kept me going in this mad job of mine. But also the downs was what taught me the most. So I'm very glad that I got both.
And it's a really challenging space, right? I mean, content creation, there's so much disruption.
Yeah.
There's YouTube, there's Twitter, there's Instagram, there's YouTube Shorts, there's Reels, there's Stories. I mean, how do you keep up with all of that?
Ends. I think for me, what's worked the most is just having a team who has their ish together. It was very important for that to happen, because I tend to be scattered more times than not, where I'm all over the place, and I'm horrible at multitasking. So I need someone who kind of does that for me, puts my life on the table, that okay, this is what you need to do and this is how you can do it. And I'm always very, very grateful that I have a team who understands and knows much more about my job, while I kind of have the liberty of learning on the way.
So since it's a, it's a business channel, it's a financial channel, I want to ask you about that aspect as well, because it's very intriguing, right? How this whole content creation journey has sort of blown up after COVID. I mean, creators are now making the most amount of money than they ever have in the recent past. But do you think that it is just a phase, it is transitionary? And what do you feel could be the future of content creation?
I don't want to think of it as a phase, because it pays my bills. But I genuinely don't think it's a phase. I mean, if you really think about it, when we had our first digital boom that happened with the internet becoming so much more accessible in different parts of the country back in 2017, I think, nobody saw digital platforms kind of becoming what they are right now. Nobody expected influencer marketing to be such a big chunk of everyone's budget every time it's allotted, you know what I mean? So it's there, and now we're going towards Web 3.0. We're going towards this whole new world of, it's going to be exciting, we don't know what it is, but it's here. So I don't think it's transitionary. I think it is a stepping stone, but I don't think it'll go very far away from what it is. I honestly don't know where it'll go. But it's a wave. You surf or you swim.
Or you drown, right?
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
So is it very hard to keep up with the trends? Are brands willing to pay the same amount of money for the same content that, say, you generated a year ago? Or are things changing very fast?
Oh, I think things are definitely changing. And I'm very grateful that I get to be a creator at a time when the brands are very conscious and aware of creator economies and how creator processes work. I remember when I started off almost 8 years ago now, there were times when we would hit this conversation with every brand saying, yeah, but it's not a TVC. You know, aise nahi karte hain, it won't work. This is not the audience for this kind of content. It's too much commercial-like. Let's do it like that. And sometimes it will go through, sometimes it won't. I feel very proud to be creating at a time when brands actually come up to me and they're like, Prajakta, like, don't use very fancy cameras, you know, like shoot it on your phone. We wanted...
Make it real.
We want it to be as much close as it can be, and that's very motivating for me. So in fact, it's changing, but it's changing for the better. Like I said, creator economy is getting bigger, so we've got more money pumped into the system, which is great because we have more creators coming on board. That means the platform gets bigger, that means more eyeballs, more brands, more money in general. So win for everyone, but it's a good time to be a creator, yeah.
Oh, that's great. But is it very gender agnostic? I ask because, you know, the financial world is really a hard space for women to grow. But is it the same in content creation? Because I do know that, of course, the bias is perhaps more towards women because of the likes and because of how visually appealing it is.
Oh,
but for content creation?
I'll be very honest with you, I have not had any first-hand experience with this. Basically also because never in the past 8 years of creation, writing, shooting, editing or uploading has my gender ever been a filter for anything. I've never reached a point where I'm like, should a girl be doing, like, will it look good if I do this? So every time I reached that point, I was like, that's fine, I'll just slap a mustache on my face and I'll do it anyway. I went through with it. So luckily for me, ignorance towards these things, and I understand that I come from a place of privilege. I understand that this is not the reality for everyone, and I acknowledge that. But I don't think I'll be the right person to answer this because this is not something I've faced, firsthand.
Okay. Through our initiative, Future Female Forward, we're also trying to address issues like gender pay gap, gender parity. India is pretty low as far as gender parity is concerned. So in that context, is there anything you think can be done, maybe not in your industry, but overall, in order to solve this recurring problem?
I'm just very glad that this conversation's done because for the longest time nobody was talking about it. It was a given. It was accepted. I'm just glad that the internet has given the voice and the power to people who are new to this, also to people in positions of authority, to kind of be on the same platform and discuss this. I'm just very glad that the first step of awareness. Now, if I talk to a very young viewer of mine, they will also be aware of the fact that, oh, whenever I start working, this is something I should keep in mind. But that wasn't the case, say, 10 years ago, right? So I'm just glad that the conversation has started and there's awareness about it. And wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous women who are doing great work are not shying away from talking about it.
And I think employers are also going to sort of keep in mind that this talk is happening, so they can't,
you can't ignore it.
Unaware. Absolutely. Okay, tell us, how do you manage your money? So financial independence is a big thing that we talk about on CNBC-TV18. And, for a woman, I think financial independence is a superpower because of everything else that she has to deal with, especially in a society like ours. So what does financial independence mean to you?
I remember I was 16 when I started earning. I started doing theatre. And I started doing odd, like, anchoring and hosting parties jobs. And I cannot tell you how important it was for me to... And I used to earn 250 rupees per show back when I was doing theatre. And I used to do, like, maybe 5 shows in a week or, like, 3 shows in a week. So close to about $750 to $1,000 is what I used to earn a week, which went up to, say, 3.5K or 4,000 a month, which was a lot of money. For me back in college. And I cannot tell you the joy I used to derive from the fact that I don't necessarily have to go back home and ask for money. Not that I come from a very humble house. I was always aware of that. So I knew that I was never in a position to go like, chalo paise de do, I need money. I was never there. But at the same time, when asked for it, I wasn't always like, it's not going to happen. But so I cannot tell you the joy I used to get from knowing that I can pay my phone bill, I can pay for my train and my bus pass, and then I started taking Mama's scooty, so I can pay for my fuel, I can pay for whatever I eat in my college canteen, and Mama and Baba don't have to worry about it. Another thing that was very important for me, and I'm glad it started that early in my life, was that when I was 16, Mama and Baba actually sat me down and they said that no matter how big or small your paycheck is, make sure you start with saving first. Like, save. If you earn 100 rupees and you've saved 10, please feel free to spend the remaining 90 without ever having a worry in the world. And I used to always be like, I was like, but what will happen if I just save 10 rupees? Like how, but वो जो आदत मेरी हो गई थी since I was 16 is still there, and now I understand why it was so important for me.
So do you invest as well, and do you have avenues to grow your money as well?
I do. Like, I'm still learning about it. My father and my sister kind of take care of it. Okay. Yeah, they take me through it. I try to learn as much. And I say I try to learn because I'm horrible at maths and numbers. My brain shuts down. I will not understand basic concepts. Like, I'll be staring at you like this. and you'll know that I don't get it. But they handle it, but I know that mutual funds is something that's there. We know that we are making smaller investments here and there when it comes to other avenues. So yeah, I'm aware of it, but I'm still trying to learn.
Okay, so you're trying to learn, and you're doing a great job at whatever you're doing. So I guess you have people to manage your money
100%.
for you, which is good. But where do you see yourself? I know you get asked this question a lot, I'm sure. I ask you because everything is changing by the day.
Yeah.
So forget about 5 years from now. People don't even know what they're going to be doing 5 days from now, or maybe 5 months from now. What do you see as your future?
So I was this kid who grew up literally planning every step of my way. I was very, very young when I knew exactly what I want to do with my life, and that happened, and then it failed. So when I started making YouTube content, A, because I did not know what being a digital creator was, I couldn't make plans. B, I realized that I made so many plans that they did not work out for me, so why not just try something else? So one of the best decisions I took, which was one of the toughest also, 8 years ago, was that I don't want a plan, and I'm so glad, because I could have never planned becoming an actor with Netflix or with Prime Video or with Dharma. I could have never planned it. I could have dreamt it, but it couldn't have ever been a part of my plan. So I actually don't have a plan, but there's a lot of peace I find in this uncertainty that my job comes with, because I know it'll be better than what I could plan. Like, I like to sit in that.
So just living in the moment and then
one day at a time.
Going with the flow.
Yeah, 100%.
Is it, I've always had this question in my mind, and I've asked a couple of other influencers as well. Do you get hit by second guessing yourself or this imposter syndrome a lot because of this kind of anxiety-ridden culture that social media is? We have to create some sort of a lifestyle that perhaps you can't even keep up with sometimes on your own.
Yeah.
If you do get hit with that, how do you deal with it?
I feel like it's so different from creator to creator. Another reason why I say I'm very, very grateful for my team is because when I started 8 years ago, I remember Gurpreet, Sudeep, Saurav from One Digital Entertainment, who are my life, sat me down and they were like, see Prajakta, this is a very different job. It's nothing like anything you will have heard of or you will hear of. Nobody's journey is exactly the same. Every creator has a different journey. You need to be very aware of a few things. You need to be aware of the fact that there's going to be hate, no matter how well you do or how bad you do. There's going to be people who are going to hate on you. Just know that it's not about you, it's about them. Number two, privacy is an issue. So be very, very wary of how much you speak about yourself or
how much you share.
How much you share. And not just your privacy, you have to keep in mind that your parents or your relationships or your friends and your team, their privacy is also at stake when you talk about things. So be very aware of those things. And number three, this is a long game. So it's easier if you don't pretend. Having a face on to be a personality online can be very, very exhausting.
Yeah.
So if you want to run the long race, then be very, very like you are. And that kind of simplified a lot of things for me when I started. Where honestly, I have my days where I sometimes feel overwhelmed, but that is more from a creative content point of view, less with a keeping up point of view, because I've kind of found my groove with it. I've also learned over time, because I've been doing this for so long now, I also learned over time to look at it through a lens of business as much as I look at it through the lens of passion. So as much as it's something that gives me a lot of joy, I also need to look at it as a job, which kind of simplifies a lot of complications for me. So, I've learned through the lows.
You figured it out, Prajakta. You figured it out. All the best to you. And if you want to just leave our viewers with one piece of advice for all of those women or men who are sort of trying to become content creators, trying to find their way in this really cluttered space, what's the one piece of advice you'd leave us with?
Just that if you want to be a creator, just start. There'll never be a better time. There will never be a better time. There's a lot of creators, yes, but there's a lot of consumption. And there couldn't be a better time for us to be a creator. It's a great, great, great job. But mehnat hai, and it's a long run, so be prepared for that. I think a lot of patience as well.
Okay, all the best. And I just saw your recent post on the whole Cadbury hoarding. It was amazing.
We've had a very VP morning in the Koli household this morning.
I'm sure you've come a long way, and I'm wishing you all the success, Prajakta.
HSBC presents CNBC-TV18 Future Female Forward, the Women's Collective.